Welcome to another edition of Watch. I'm Matt.
And I'm Pat. Welcome.
I'm Abe.
I'm Brett.
Hey guys, tonight's episode is something special. We have a special guest interview. Pat, what was you can introduce him?
Yeah, we'll get his bio and everything's on there, but it's Brian Keith of Brian Keith Fine Art. He's done a lot of the sculptures up in Blackhawk, the Blackhawk Plaza, done sculptures across the country, and really interesting guy, very talented guy. And after we talk here for a few minutes, we'll jump into that clip. It's about a 15-minute interview with Brian in his studio, and you're going to learn a lot about somebody that's native of San Ramon, who's very talented, doing great things out there.
Yeah, so before we do that, let's jump into, guys, July 1st. It's still in the docket for dine-in restaurants.
Ooh, hope so.
And July 15th, who's missing a movie theater, you can then go to the movie.
With a mask.
With the mask.
If there's a movie out.
Yeah. Well, they're playing in places right now. They're doing old movies. Like, guess what is the #1 movie in the country right now?
What's that?
The original Jurassic Park.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so they're doing this.
That's good with
That's
the sound.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good
So,
theater one.
What about
Drive-in
drive-ins?
movies.
Drive-ins been
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what drive-ins been big. Concerts are doing drive-ins right now. Like Garth Brooks, you can go to the Alameda County Fair Saturday night in your car.
Okay.
It's if you go at 8:45 show, it's $700 for the car, and you can get 6 people. But if you go to the 11 o'clock showing, if it's 11 o'clock showing, it's
sit in your
$199. You watch.
$700. Is it sold out? I mean,
There was still the $700 seat car was still available. There was
What do you watch? What do you watch?
on the like a drive-in
they got a
screen.
big screen
It's
there?
it's not a live concert. It's recorded,
But you got to stay in your car.
but you got to stay in your
And it's
car.
$700.
What if you have to go to the bathroom?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure you can go to the bathroom, but it's
go
just
in your
neat
car.
that
can you roll in like the old days of the drive-in and put your buddies in the trunk?
yeah. So they talked about that. Like it's fit that 6 people, and everyone has to have a seatbelt, or they charge more people.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, last time we were looking at it, I was like, oh my gosh, and we were texting. We texted your wife to say like, what do you think about this? You know, for the country fans, and it's pricey, but you could go to a drive-in. The movie theaters are coming out soon. I'm just concerned that they're going to go back to
opening.
Yeah, gyms. I think gyms are open.
Jim's
aren't they?
July 15th, I think.
the same with the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Very limited protocol.
Get
Like
that going.
gyms are going to have like
Yeah.
you can only be in for a certain amount of time.
You have to
Only
like
a certain amount
reserve.
of people. Yeah, Club Sport told us if you want to do a group class, you have to wear a mask.
The
So-
San Ramon Open pool lap swimming, and it's you got to do the same. You get 50 minutes at a time. You got to make a reservation. Both pools are open, both Olympic pools. But that's for lap swimmers, that's good.
Yeah.
But still no go play around in the pool kind of thing.
I just hope they don't try to pull anything like we're going to restrict again, because
Yeah.
you're starting to see cases go up, and I hope it's because they're just testing more people.
Yeah,
I think it's what they say.
we're not seeing a lot of the hospitalizations
Yeah.
right now. So keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, people are out. People are
Yeah.
sitting like this on patios at restaurants and
It's nice.
no masks, and it's great. But
We-
there's some risk there.
I
smart.
guess you have to wear. Because we went to the place, the beer joint, Fieldwork.
Yeah.
You have to wear. They're really strict about you wearing your mask when you're walking or standing.
But not when you're sitting.
As soon as you sit down, you can take your mask
Yeah.
off. But as soon as you
Fieldwork
as
was
soon as
pretty
you stand
strict.
up- yeah, they were pretty.
It was funny. They
freaked out.
quick little story. We were there the other day. I think you were moving rocks and you were at baseball, but we were there and we put a credit card down to pay for the tab to reserve it, and I wanted to pay, but he gave his card first. So at the end, when we went to close out, I handed the guy my card. He goes, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
He goes, your card's not sanitary.
Yeah.
Oh, so they.
I go, well, you swiped his card. He's like, well, we're trying to minimize interactions.
Interesting.
My money's no good there. It's Brett's money.
My dad put his hand on the counter, and the guy really freaked out. Kind of came.
The guy's like,
forward.
get back.
Yeah, you can't do that. It's like, wow.
Wow. I mean, I guess they're worried. I guess they want to keep their
Yeah, they
business.
want to keep. Yeah, no one gets sick from that.
Yeah.
But
But don't do it.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. We went and got to Fieldwork the other day to pick up some beer for Brett, and
Thanks, man.
it was crowded, dude. People just waiting in line
Yeah.
to get there, and I was like, man, this is crazy. But
Hey, the
so
beer's
you're
not that
seeing
good.
normal stuff
Yeah.
again?
And even for the to-go, they're a little technical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for beer that's okay.
Yeah. So
And,
there's Hop Yard.
I'll argue anybody on that too.
Clementine's.
Hey, so whoever's a baseball fan, looks like
Chris.
July 1st, baseball's
baby.
coming back.
Yeah.
So MLB baseball is finally. They think July 1st will be the first day of spring training. So I'm excited about that. I was getting tired of watching the Korean baseball. So
I keep hearing to go back. Is it
yeah,
really
well,
to go now?
they didn't agree the thing. So now it's going to be 60 games
Oh, they are going
in
to
70 days.
They narrowed it down.
So that they didn't agree to it. I know we don't want to go too long, but they didn't agree to it, and then all of a sudden he just declared it.
No, so if they can't come to agreement, then
Yeah.
the commissioner gets to just set it.
Just
So the owners wanted to go with
And then the
60,
players have to do it?
and the players have to do it. It's in the contract. So they wanted to get
They do that like 3 months ago.
well, they wanted to get the players' involvement, so there wasn't some issues
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So, but the good news is like if you're a fan of baseball, it's coming back. Now, the only worry
anything
now
else.
is you're seeing some the tennis player today, Djokovic, just got diagnosed with COVID. One of the basketball players in Serbia in the NBA just got diagnosed. So I don't know how
Bunch
that's
of the
going to.
Clemson players got it.
So I don't know if that's going to delay anything, but I mean, you hearing things coming back,
Yeah.
and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But
And then one last thing, school board meeting was tonight, and
Was it?
we're obviously here. We had our interview with Brian, so we're going to follow up next week on the school board meeting and have more information to report on for you there.
I would like to say that I tried to find it online. It's supposed to be online at 7, and it's about what 8:30 right now.
it was just the city council. Right?
City council was on. They had their regular monthly meeting, but I couldn't find it. I mean, it was a link they sent out to us. Said, "Hey, check this out." It's supposed to be tonight at 7, and I couldn't find it. So maybe if someone found it,
Well, we'll get
Yeah,
some
we'll be
information
talking to
for
it.
next time. But guys, enjoy the interview with Brian, and we'll check you guys.
Yeah,
next
give us
time.
your feedback. It's a great interview, and we're excited to get back with the guest again.
yeah, it was good.
All right, guys, enjoy.
Guys, this is fun because this is the first time that we've had a guest on in a long time, and it's the first time we've had a guest on via Zoom, and it's a real interesting and special guest. His name's Brian Keith, local San Ramon native. Basically, Brian, his background is a professional bronze sculptor with national acclaim, whose sculptures can be viewed throughout the U.S. in private and public collections. His work is recognizable to the San Ramon locals if you visited the Blackhawk Plaza, where his bronzes are on permanent display. Brian grew up here in San Ramon, where he currently lives with his wife and 4 children. By the way, his wife, who is his high school sweetheart, is the one who Brian says has the talent in the house. Lanisa is a singer who has been invited to sing the national anthem for most of the professional sports teams in the Bay, including the Warriors, the A's, and the Giants. And Brian's a Cal High grad, actually knows my wife and her sister from back in the days of Cal High in the late 80s. So that's awesome. Brian, I'm married to my high school sweetheart too. So she says,
Congratulations.
Yeah. So anyway, what prompted us having this on here is I saw on Facebook this page for the sculpture, the San Ramon Eagle, which was really intriguing. And we reached out to you and wanted us to get you on here and ask you questions about not only the Eagle project, but kind of just, your background in this. What got you into this? How did you get started? We're going to show some of the pictures of your early work with the Ronald Reagan bust and some of those other things. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into this?
Oh, wow. Well, I got into this later in life. I was 33 years old when I touched clay for the first time. So it was a transition, vocational change, and it's more, I guess, a faith step, and tried to get into fine art. And I was training with a world-renowned painter, and I thought I was going to go that direction, the oil paintings. And I took a course, not even really a course, just sat down and sculpted a person with clay. And my mentor looked at it and said, I think you need to go that direction. And he calls me the reluctant sculptor because I kind of wanted to go his direction and more in the fine art painting world. But I took that step, and right out the door, I got hired and commissioned to do a sculpture of President Reagan, and then they asked to have 200 of them made, and
Wow.
And that really did it encouraged me a lot. The pieces, one of them are at the Reagan Museum and Library down in Simi Valley, and got into some pretty well-known private collections, and then I think that really that was some initial encouragement. It really was something that I had never known was planned for my life, and so then the ball started rolling. My wife and I, after high school, I went down to Biola University and studied down there, and my wife went to USC. And so we were actually in Southern California for quite some time in Huntington Beach area. So I was working with troubled youth in the juvenile hall, and also I was a youth pastor for quite some time, and I was in full-time ministry actually down there. And then we moved up here, started a family, and it just the doors began to open for this. And I met a very generous and incredible man who has really helped my art career as well. And he's a gentleman who opened, actually he's the CEO of he's a development company who owns Blackhawk Plaza and several others. And he was looking for someone to do some sculpture work for the plaza there. And he and I met back in, I think, 2007. And he commissioned me to do several the bronzes there at the plaza. And
yeah, those are cool up there. Is that where the First Flight one is? I think you called it First Flight in the picture. Yeah,
the
that's
aviator,
really cool.
and
On the goose.
So
I was
sorry, Pat. Let me they're beautiful sculptures.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for that. I grew up in Simi Valley, so it's pretty crazy I've been in the Reagan Library many times, and to think that that's your work, that's amazing. So were you like an artist when you were a kid, or like how did you, there's some talent that you had that you didn't know, right?
Yeah. I kept myself, I was able to concentrate better in class when I was always doodling. And my last year in high school at Cal High, they used to have something called the ROP class, and it was Regional Occupation Program. And I actually won a scholarship, 4-year scholarship to the Academy of the Arts. And by the time I won that, I'd already decided to go to Biola. So that was kind of the encouraging moment as well. And I went to college studying actually art and Bible at the same time. And I just loved, in Southern California, I was into painting as well. And I just loved painting waves, but it got to a point where it reached a level where I wasn't really pushing myself. Yeah. And then having a mentor, his name was Morgan Weisling, and he's a world-renowned painter. He took me under his wings and said, "Hey, you're going to do this. You're going to do it right." So I think that's where my training really started up.
Well, and can you take us through the process? Like, how do you start? And you said some of them take you up to 3 months.
Oh yeah. I think initially they take a minimum of about 3 months to about 9 months of sculpting. I usually start off with really small, they're called thumbnail sketches, and get the idea on paper, and then move from there to some concept design where some engineering kind of goes on in my mind too. And you work on smaller scale sculptures. I'm staring at one right now if I had a moment to show you. It's a smaller version of it. So it's called a maquette. And then I'll spend some time working on that, working out all the poses and everything. And then from there, it'll be working, making it life size, and if it needs to be enlarged, something larger, that would be the next stage. And this panther is it's 8 feet right now, but it's going to be a 20-foot panther by the time we're finished with that.
Wow.
So
how does it go from eight? How does it go from 8 to 20?
Well, with technology nowadays, it's changing some things where I'm able to use 3D scanning and get literally the guy came in a couple of weeks ago, and with the scanning technology, you can get fingerprints in this type of work. Most of the time, like the eagle we're talking about, I boosted that up usually by hand with some foam that you're helping to you chisel away, and you use foam as a way of holding up the amount of clay that's going to be needed, because this is all oil-based clay, so it never dries out.
Okay.
and so I can work on it on a piece for years if I needed to.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Where's that eagle gonna be located?
The Eagle is going to be at Rancho Park in right off of Doherty, and they have that large park up there. They're going to be doing a new addition, and right in the area where the flag and the traffic circle is, we're going to have it located there.
So, what was the genesis of that project? How did it come about? Is there a story behind it? Did somebody contact you? Tell us a little bit about the background on how this is coming to be.
Yeah. Well, a little more background. Most of my work is done through commission. So someone will approach me, or I have to put my name in the ring to kind of compete with other artists and get selected. That's how I got the Panther project. And but it also the CEO Fred Bruning from CenterCal, the one I was discussing with you about. He and I worked on several projects together, and one of them was an Eagle project for the city of Riverton, Utah, and it was geared towards dedicating it towards as a tribute to first responders. And he and I had talked about this Eagle, and he also we thought it'd be something to be able to gift our city, San Ramon, and have it here in the city. And so he and I both decided to take this on, and I went to the city of San Ramon, and they were very supportive of it. And they've actually commissioned me to bring they were part of the commissioning team to bring this to San Ramon. And so Fred and his wife Brandis have dedicated a large portion of the funds for that. Okay. But we're also going to be using this as an opportunity as well. We have sponsorship programs where people can be part of helping the rest of those costs. And but really, I think generally it's just wanted to bring this work that would not just beautify the city in some way, but have a symbol for something that stands for something great within our city. And I think because of this stuff we're going through currently right now, that's even having more of that foundation being solidified of what the symbolism is behind this eagle. And I've been watching, following it along too, and seeing how it's going along with people, and the support is absolutely amazing so far. And a lot of people in San Ramon, the surrounding communities, are getting behind it.
Yeah, that's great.
When will it be completed?
It's getting cast as we speak, and we're finishing up all the casting right now. For the installation of it, we were looking at it towards the end of this year. There's been a little bit change of plan, obviously, with as these transitions are happening, but we're looking probably closer to the beginning of this next year for the installation.
That's incredible. I have some good news. So the guys here, we've have bids out to get us sculpted, and you won. So
all right. I have a lot of people coming in. Before COVID, I had people come in and pose. My kids are always posing for there's several of those pictures that you probably see in there. Several of the sculptures are my kids that are actually posing for those. So who knows?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I never know.
Yeah. Do you have out of all the work that you've done, do you have a particular favorite? I mean, the Panther, I think, is awesome looking, but I don't know if you've got a particular favorite or two that.
I think whenever it's being able to incorporate my children into a sculpture, that really touches my heart. And there's my daughter, she's on a swing with butterfly wings, and it's on a stack of books, and she's flying over this beautiful scenery, and that really has a lot of meaning to me. But I think there's a couple personal ones. One of the ones probably you've seen the pictures, that it's the story of the prodigal son. That got a lot of national attention as well. But it's just it's a view of a biblical story that
Yeah.
it may have just been done in a different way, but I think when reading a story, something like that, that's always reaches deep into the heart somewhere.
So we'll put pictures up. But so your daughter is the one on the swing. Is your son then with the umbrella?
He did help pose for that too, but he's the one that is standing next to a large mastodon. He's a little explorer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll put these are fantastic.
Yeah. We'll get them all. Just do a little slideshow of them there as we're doing the video. So
Nice having you.
good. Any other questions? Brett, you've been quiet.
What's the dog right behind you? I
He
keep
is actually
staring at him. It looks like a real dog.
Yeah, it's been fun. He's been a fun one to sculpt. He's part of a series of sculptures that are out going to be in Riverton, Utah, next to the one where I was talking previously. It's a series of very patriotic sculptures, a series that describes our appreciation for the freedoms that we have in our nation. And this dog is actually sitting in a radio flyer wagon, and he's
cool.
sitting next to a grandson who's saluting, and a grandfather who's has his hand on his shoulder. And
Wow.
it's
That's
gonna,
excellent.
yeah.
Is that like in an open piece of artwork, or is that like inside a museum? Or
It's for a plaza. It's out in a
Okay.
plaza so it's open for a lot of people to see.
very cool.
Great.
That's very nice.
So Brian,
Thank
where can people go and like a website to look at your stuff?
BrianKeithFineArt.com is a good one to show the work. Then also on Facebook, I think San Ramon Eagle has some more information about the Eagle, and then but I think most of the things I put up are on my website still.
Great.
Perfect. Well,
Awesome.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we appreciate
Very
you
nice.
being on. I think we're excited to see some of this work develop and transpire into final projects, and we'll be there when they get this Eagle kicked off, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of ribbon cutting.
Yeah, we'll have a
Ribbon
kickoff.
cutting. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we'll have a few things, and you're all invited to come to that. That's great.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Brian.
Excellent.
Appreciate you being on,
Thank
Brian.
you, guys.
Great talking.
Thanks,
with
Thank you
you.
very
Brian.
much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much.
Awesome.
right.
Thank you.